March 10th, 2022. And we'll start with the first agenda. We do have a quorum. Do have a quorum. What's this popped up here? This meeting is being recorded. I got it. Okay, hit that button. All right, so we have a quorum, ladies. We're all set. Good to go?
Good.
First item on agenda is the minutes of the meeting. And yes, I was wondering if I could have a motion to accept the minutes. It looks pretty good to me.
I make a motion to accept.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll second.
You'll second, Ellie?
Yep.
Excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes accepted for last meeting. Not sure, I don't have a date there.
February,
February what?
wait a minute, February,
Oh, there, 21st, 2022.
yeah, February 21st.
21st, yeah, okay. I did want to move up in the agenda about minutes. You received the email that we're going to be sending those minutes to Chris Furno.
I just sent all of them to her this morning, everything that I have.
Excellent, excellent. So we don't have to personally do it or be trained on it, which is a good thing, you know, I think.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to go into any of the other departments and look for their minutes?
Selectmen only, really. That's the only one that I remember where it comes up, it's a PDF file. It has the agenda first and then the minutes afterwards. And as far as other ones, I could take a look, like, you know, let's see what they've got. You know, but that's the only one that I'm aware of.
Either I'm not looking in the right place or no one else puts them on.
Well, didn't they have a board or something that they had
Right.
to at one point, but they changed that over or something, didn't they?
Yeah, that's been gone since like 2015 or 16 or so.
Okay.
You couldn't get on after that.
All right. Well, we can take a look and see what's going on with other people's minutes. But I think that's a good thing that they place it on for us, you know, because that way,
Right.
once we approve it, you know, send it in and let them place it on our website there, homepage thing. All right. The next thing on the agenda is our status of our role. I was hoping Matt would attend, but hello, Matt, are you there? Anyways, I did invite him, and I was just looking for an update, a status update, what was going on. So I'll just we'll have to wait on that. And also the job description template to verify the
Mm-hmm.
did you some sort of volume thing? I didn't quite understand. Are we getting a?
I just went,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
We wanted to get it verified.
Right,
that-
verify that they're using it. So we'll still have to work on that because I haven't really seen any our job descriptions because that's another thing that we wanted to place online. Remember that? That was part of
Right.
it, getting a proper template and then putting it online. So we still need to verify that they're using it. And so I can go back to annual reviews. Okay. I have a couple of issues with the annual reviews, and one of the things was, according to policies and procedures, okay, it basically talks 4.5 performance appraisal, and it talks about the person being evaluated on an annual basis and a performance review, and then it talks about the sample, Appendix B. I didn't have a chance to look at Appendix B, but I know there was a performance evaluation form that we had approved at one point in time,
Correct.
but I don't know if that is the one that is referenced here to Appendix B. So I want to take a look at that because I'd like to know what performance review material forms that they are using presently. Okay, so it's something to look into. Anybody up for that?
I'll do that.
Thank you, Betty. And okay. And my next was, it said annual, which I questioned or had a note that we were going to try to specify a date, and I have here in my note November 30th. But I think when they're putting something in like that with a date, I know when I was in business, it was review time was after the annual, the money, January, January, and we had to have our reviews done by March, the end of March. And it was basically set up the end of March. It didn't say March 30 or whatever. It was basically the end of March. So I was thinking it's like, we should try to get a date in there, but not specific, like, but the annual, what do you call it? The government goes by July, right? Correct?
Right. And that's why we chose November, the end of November, because by then the budget season starts for the following year, and that would be when raises would be in a normal situation, in a best scenario situation. You would do the job review, and then you would base the raise for the coming year on that job review.
So say July comes along. We've
Mhm.
already gone through the May annual meeting, which
Right.
now they know the money coming in.
Right.
So now we would wait to November.
Well, that money coming in, you'd already have done your budget, and the people's raises would be in it.
Right. But I'm saying is, if it could be something like, okay, if we do them, like we have the annual review in May, and then you've got.
No, that would be too late. I don't know. Ellie, can you word it better than I'm wording it?
You're doing good. I think the annual town meeting is in May. The budget gets set before, by March or something like that.
Right.
Or, so you have to have everything in place before then. So that's why we were doing the reviews for calendar year as opposed to fiscal year.
Fiscal, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So don't you think they should be done before the fiscal year? Because they've already approved the budget. They've already approved the annual meeting, the money for the compensation. So the next step would be reviews before they actually get the compensation. That's my thinking.
Well, I don't think that you can, because if it's voted at town meeting, it's a given. You can't.
Right. It's not flexible. Say if you're a town employee,
okay,
the amount of money we're going to give Kristen is already set at the annual town meeting. So reviewing after wouldn't work. It has to be done before we do our budgets. And the budget season is usually, and it may be earlier, but it used to be around Thanksgiving. You'd start doing your budget.
Okay.
Get it ready. And then, you'd want your review done prior to that.
Okay.
You're looking at it so that you would be able to use the money from the town meeting when actually the review has to be done way before the town meeting.
Okay. So the review is done on what year?
The previous year.
The calendar year.
The calendar year.
Calendar year.
Right.
So in November, say 2022, you would be doing the review for what?
23.
23 years money? Fiscal year's money.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's a
what
little different now than it was before, because Matt makes a 5-year window of budgets, and he basically did all the budgets for all the committees, mean, all the departments in town, including the library.
Right.
So we just sort of endorse, the library just endorses or argues or whatever it feels like doing, the budget that Matt has made. Matt is going to be developing, I think he's been there for 5 years,
Mhm.
believe it or not. He'll be working on another 5-year plan for all the departments.
Okay, so what we should really try to request is to ask the town administrator, Matt, to give us a time frame of when they are supposed to be done, period. In other words, we want to know when they're supposed to be done. Because right now, when it says annual, right now, I have no clue what annual means because I know it's supposed to be yearly, but we've been looking for completed reviews for 2019, 20, and 21. I mean, and I've actually, I have knowledge of a person that hasn't had it for 4 years, and there's other people that haven't had them for 2 years. So we're not getting the requirement that's needed for these reviews. They are very important. And so if we set some sort of time frame that is, okay, they need to be done by the last week in November, period. And then follow up with, okay, let's have a verification process. And no one is tracking these. We need to verify them. And I know working in manufacturing, when you do verification, to me, it would be very simple to verify them because all we would need is a copy of the last page with a signature and a date. That's it. I don't need to see the whole performance review. I just need a signature and a date for the verification process. And that way there, we could probably set up and get Excel spreadsheet with names and have like the name and their supervisor's name and their title and the date that they were reviewed, and then have a column for us to say, were they reviewed or not? You know, yes. Okay, once there's yes, it's off the list. So therefore, we wouldn't have to chase them and basically, you know, say, I don't know who's tracking them at this point because it doesn't seem we're getting the information. They're not getting done. So we do have an issue with this, which we need to address. So, I mean, it's for the benefit of the employees that they get their reviews, you know?
Exactly. And then I think,
Go ahead.
I think the final review should go in their personnel file.
It should. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be filed away. But like I'm saying is, I'm sure, I don't want to assume, but someone is supposed to be holding those personnel files, you know? But to me, it's easy enough to scan a document and just blanking out the top part, give me the signature and the date. That's all I would care about. And then we could reference their name and then the date. And like I said, I would need job title. You know what I'm saying? I'd like job title, the name and the supervisor's name and give me a date that they did it. And that way we could verify it. And I went to a training this past week or so, and I wish I could have stayed longer, but I had other commitments. But what I did learn is that they're finally organizing their data, which is great. You know, it's like, oh, good, fine. And they're setting up different servers, and they're on the computer drives. You know, when you go to My Computer at home, you get My Computer, and you'll have a drive that'll say D or E, and it's actually from your CD or something else. Well, when you're accessing different servers, okay, so you have a certain network. So you have your workstation, and then you have the network with links to other servers. And then those in turn would be the other servers in there, and they're up at the cloud if you want or not. And the cloud is basically an off-site place where storage and it's organization. And years ago, I remember it wasn't called the cloud. It was basically cloud, like off-site secured data, something. And when I remember talking about it with IT, it was if the place building here blew up, you could go to that source of data and you can find everything you want to actually create your whole system, department, everything again. So there's
Right.
the knowledge. So it's basically under knowledge management, where here's your information between your drawings, your prints, you know, everything's there. It's off-site. They call it the cloud. Whoa, what's that? They call it a cloud now, which is great. You know, it's up in the cloud. And so anyway, so I went to this, and they're going to have certain drives now set up on their computer. And they're going to have like 3 drives that I and the first one's which N drive is going to be the department drive, which is only people within the department can see that drive. So they're going to start sharing information. And then the next one was an I drive, which is the whole town, except for police and fire. But basically the whole town can see that drive. And then the next one was T drive, which is basically your personal drive for you to see what's going on. So you're organizing your data and you're sharing your data. So you don't have to email someone some data, because you can just say, you know, check out the drive C, it's right there. Or check, you know what I mean? So there's some communication, which is great. And they also had talked about linking like shortcut links, you know, on your desktop, how you have that little picture button there and you push the buttons and it goes out to the program or application you want. Well, it also, you can set them up to do a file folder, so you can go right to the, like, the Explorer there in your drive. Am I losing you, lady? How we doing?
Can you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What is it?
No, I was going to say that's pretty interesting. I'm sorry I missed that meeting, but I'm hoping they have another one.
Well, they're going to break down certain programs that they use and other things like that. But so, I mean, I didn't attend the whole thing. I only could stay for an hour. And what I found, like I said, it was about the drives, the servers, the networks, all connecting, and all, bottom line, try to organize your data so that what needs to be shared is shared within those areas of like N, I, and P. And the point I'm getting at is, I think that we should be able to get a drive on a server somewhere, right, to place these reviews. So once they scan the signatures and dates, they can just up it to that drive. So then we can see them and then verify them with the list that they put there. So every year would be like, okay, there's this drive. They call it, I don't know, H or something like that. Hi. and we have a drive at H. And then we put in folders, which would be something like personnel reviews. And then under that would be the date 2022. And then under that would be our the Excel spreadsheet with names, etc. So we would have that updated every year under the date. And then from there would be scanned in documents of the people's signatures, date. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't want to lose you, ladies. I'm just trying to organize it where they're organizing their information. I want to make sure that it is organized as well, as far as we can access the stuff that we want. And, you know, I feel that the, is this show grid video? I'm wondering why I only have one picture on here.
Well,
I know mine
happened to me. So
What is it?
mine is frozen. Mine is frozen.
mine is not, I can't see anybody, but
No,
you all have a lot of echoes, or not Betty Ann, but
I do. Because I know I hear an awful lot of, you know, stuff in the background. It's like, what is that noise?
That's not me. You know, it would be good if we could have all the forms that go.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Things that are important, you know, it's
Right.
like, oh, here's this and that. It's like, you don't necessarily have to go to a website to say, but
yeah,
Right.
anyway.
I know from serving on Capitol, that two of us on the committee are nobodies, like myself and Shirley Mazinski. We are not employed by the town. We're not the chairman of this particular meeting or anything like that. And those are the only people that can see the documents right now. So we have to, Shirley likes the paper in front of her, so she gets a copy of it at there. I don't like all the extra paper, so I just ask how much is it going to cost, and that's it. But we right now cannot, as lay people, so to speak, cannot see any of this. Now, the fire chief is on the committee; he can see it. The chairman of finance is on the committee; he can see it, and one of the selectmen is on the committee, Mike, and he can see it. But we can't. Shirley and I can't. So I don't know if they're eventually going to somehow overrule that sort of thing. And I'm not sure where the personnel and procedures manual all stands. I would like it addressed in there, of both reviews and, how they're going to handle the reviews and this computer stuff.
Yeah, like I said, I'd like to address that too. Like I said, try to get a time frame date and also implement verification that it's being completed. And then place it where on the server, whatever server, and so we can access that, basically see that it's done, and then check off the Excel spreadsheet list of the person's name. Like I said, to say, yes, it's completed. Because I don't want to go 3 years without people having reviews. And they're going to play catch up now. You know what I'm saying? It's
no, but I think that the 3 years not getting reviews, is it addressed in the personnel and procedure manual, whatever that thing's called? Is it in there that reviews are to be done? It is. Okay.
Right. That's what I said.
Yes.
That first it says, full-time, permanent, part-time employees will be evaluated on an annual basis. And then it talks about the performance review. In the appendix B, I'm not sure what it says B. Yeah, I guess that's a bracket. Okay, so appendix B is supposedly the performance review. But I'd like to verify, is like, what performance reviews are they using? Are they using this particular form or the one that we had okayed quite a while ago, and see what forms they're using? It's like, do they have the tools? It's like, what's going on? It's like the tool's not available. I don't know. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure we gave them the newer form, but I will check. I'll be able to check and see what highway it's using.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know for the library director, Matt suggested that the trustees use sort of the same type of review that he's given, because it's a supervisory position, just as he is, and so that's what we adapted, something sort of like his for reviewing the library director.
Well, this would be another thing that would be nice to place on the
Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Sort of, but there's
static.
I think there's an internet issue. Do you want me to close out and restart this, or?
Oh, we're afraid we won't be able to hook back up again.
I know.
No, but I do that because mine, I don't see anybody.
Yeah, there's definitely an issue. You want me to close it and start it right back up?
Yes.
Do we, would you stay connected or no?
No, you'd have to reconnect.
We have to reconnect. All right, see how we can do that.
All right, let's try it.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, where were we? As far as forms, personnel review forms, we should find out what they are using, okay? As far as like if they're using different ones for different areas, we need a copy. And I don't want a printed copy, I want a digital copy. It's so much easier. And then, does anyone want to take that upon them?
Yeah, I'm going to check on the form that they're using. And I do think it's the newer one because I remember when the last time that the selectmen approved the policy book,
Mhm.
I think every department might have been emailed the
Copy.
current copy.
Okay. And as far as the trustees are concerned, you think that was edited? So if you could get a blank copy of that?
Of what we used for Justin?
Yeah,
I'll get that from Justin.
Like I said, see if compare them, because maybe they want to use one for supervisors, managers different from regular employees. Depends, I've seen that happen in businesses, like that's basically the step is like a lot of goals and stuff like that on there.
Yeah, because the way the trustees do it, because there's 8 trustees, is that Justin actually sends us the form that we're to use, and he makes our responses blind, so nobody can read that Ellie wrote this wonderful thing about Justin or anything like that. And then he takes all the reviews and compiles them together.
Okay.
And it works well because he's we're non-paid people, so he does all the work and comes out, and it's good enough that it evaluates him on his supervisory skills and stuff like that. Not did he come to work on time or anything.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. That's what I said. I think they did that because they needed other forms, for supervisor positions, manager positions, and then of course employees. So if we do have like 3 separate forms, I'd like to see what the 3 separate forms are, because that should be included like appendix such and such, and that way we like to have it available,
Mhm.
So anyways, so you're going to take out the trustees, Ellie?
Well, I'll do the supervisory one that Matt
Okay,
has
and you're going to
suggested.
do highway? Then
Yes.
Dan?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. All right, the next is policy review and procedures. That falls under, let me take a look here. All right, I have, when we went to the selectmen's meeting, okay, of our concerns, there was 2 issues, if you recall. One was the fact we're not getting job descriptions, where it says we shall get job descriptions. And the other was basically the item we've been talking about as far as, I'm trying to look and see if I can find it. It's like 4.5 something to do with the time frame, that they would limit the time frame 2 years. Yeah, that, and we were talking about maybe setting up a warrant of some sort. I pulled the November 2nd, 2021 Selectmen Board's minutes, and I'm looking at what they wrote, and it has no mention of that. No mention of it. It says discussion review, updated roles for personnel board, possible votes. Personal board chair, Kristen Stevens, was in attendance, and Matt spoke to the process and pay rate issues with town employees. Draft will be sent to personnel board to review 11/5 through 11/8 and will be discussed at the upcoming meeting. nothing about the policy procedure problem we were having. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what? I was a little bit like, what? So anyways, and I know we talked about the policy and procedures, like updating that and how would you update that? And we had talked about a warrant. And I went onto the selectmen's page and there was a nice link. It said warrant process. Because remember I said it'd be nice to understand how to, implement a warrant, because I don't know how to do that. And I know, Ellie, you were talking about working on it. So I pulled up this warrant process, and what I got was Town of Douglas warrant process. Title, payroll. All payroll vouchers, whatever, must contain an original signature in either department head, et cetera, et cetera. And then it says if department does not have the oversee of the committee, blah, blah, blah. And then expenses.
You know why?
So is a warrant.
You know why when they present the bills for the week to the selectmen, they call it a warrant. So the selectmen have to sign I think now it's every 2 weeks, they present a warrant with all the bills, the payroll, and they have to sign it. So that's a different kind of warrant.
Warrant. Okay. That's what I thought. This just sounds like it's on the paycheck side.
Yes.
It's like, okay, what is that? So anyways, the other article that was back at the selectmen, Appendix A, it says Town of Douglas warrant article request cover sheet. So I'm trying to think, it's like, okay, this whole cover sheet, and then it talks, this basically tells you, the person that's requesting it, the whole bit, bylaws, if applicable, and all that. That particular is the warrant article, right, request.
Right.
That's
Correct.
the warrant article request. Okay, I wanted to define it because, like I said, I'm looking for how to do it, and I popped up that, and I'm like, it sounds like to me it's just a checkbook type thing. I don't quite get that. All right, that clarifies that.
At this point, I suggest that we wait and do it prior to next year's annual town meeting.
Well,
Yeah,
it's over.
definitely. Yeah,
It's too late now.
Yeah.
Right,
May
right.
4th.
And we don't want to bother with a special. We'd have to get like 100 signatures.
No,
So
I don't have a problem with that, but listen to this, what I found as far as it says here, a policy may be initiated by a member of the board, town administrator, town employee, or by a citizen of the town requesting that the chairman provide for discussion the proposed policy in an agenda of a regular meeting of the board. This is Board of Selectmen, okay?
Right.
That's what it's under. Okay, I just want to clarify what board we're talking about. Okay, the individual initiating the discussion shall provide the board with a written draft of the proposed policy for distribution for the board. Didn't we do that, ladies? They didn't discuss it in the minutes, but we gave them a copy, remember? The initial
Yes.
letter copy, which told them what changes we wanted to do,
right.
what we were addressing. Okay, I'll continue if you don't mind. Okay, with a written draft of the proposed policy for distribution to the selectmen. The board may schedule any hearing or meeting that deems necessary for discussion. Board, which is the selectmen, may distribute a draft for comment to appropriate officials as it deems necessary and shall notify of the discussion to any town boards, committees, or employees who may be affected by the policy. Okay? Second, the board shall not vote on a policy until the second meeting following its introduction. The vote by 3 of the board of 5 members shall be required for the adoption of a new or amended board policy. So I'm wondering, board policy, is that talking about the selectmen board or any board, Because it's like confusing at this point.
It's
And
the selectmen's personnel and policy
The
manual.
selectmen,
Yeah.
not the personnel procedures policy.
Right.
Okay. But
Which is addressed in there.
which is addressed
Personnel
in there.
policy is addressed in the personnel policy procedures manual.
Wait, it tells us how to change a policy in there?
Well, no, they know
This is
how, only the selectmen can change it. We can't change it. you have to present it to the selectmen, yes.
Right.
But they are the ones that change it, and they have 3 readings of it. And then if they vote yes after the 3rd reading, I guess, then it becomes part of the policies.
And
Right.
that's the policy for the selectmen, not
No,
for
for us. For us. That would
us.
be the policy for the procedures manual. Our procedures manual.
We don't have a procedures manual, only the selectmen have the procedures.
Well, she's talking about that employee handbook type.
Right, the one
The
that
big
says,
fat one,
Yeah,
which addresses all the personnel in town.
right.
well, this one here where it says, this is Town of Douglas Board of Selectmen. It's operating and policies and procedures. So this section that says procedure for establishing policies and procedures, that specific procedure, does that reference their procedures, which is the selectmen's, or does it really reference the personnel's policy and procedures? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't quite understand where, are we going to be presenting to them and they have to read it 3 times? Or
Right.
we
We
have
can only
to
make a suggestion.
Warren, huh? Fine.
We can only make a suggestion. They have to read it 3 times, and if they don't approve it, it's
It's
not approved.
no.
Yeah.
So at what point would you do a warrant article then?
Well, no,
That-
the warrant article is for a bylaw.
Bylaw.
You told me that that 2.5 year thing was in the bylaws, so that's.
Right. That's different.
And that warrant is you submit to the town clerk.
Oh, yeah.
Early in March, like she had told us,
Okay.
4th or 5th of March, and I mean the first Friday in March. And that makes it so we only need 10 signatures on that warrant for to have an article placed
Right.
in, on the town meeting agenda, so to speak.
Right.
But I had said they are going to, the selectmen and the town administrator are going to really make fools of us if we do that without them explaining to us why there is this 2.5 year limitation.
Limit, yeah, yeah. And where's a calendar that shows you what the actual, question policy is? And it's like, okay, you question something and you bring it before them, and then they say, okay, fine, no, not right now. It's 2 years. Okay, the calendar starts ticking. Where's the calendar? Tell me where the calendar is. I want to know.
Well, it's
So-
whenever, if it's in a bylaw, then it's whenever it was voted into, or I don't know, brought up. They have it.
And who put it in there? That wasn't always in there.
No, and that was the time when they created this amendment to, or changes to the personnel bylaw without showing anybody.
Right.
They
Well,
just said it
yeah,
is available to see in the town
town
clerk's
hall. Right.
office. But and I asked at the town meeting, when did you have the public hearing on this?
Right. And they didn't.
They did. They were saying their public hearing was their meeting and that's
That's yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
But
But it
it's,
was
I
like-
was
it
thinking
was
a
their-
public
it was-
hearing was.
It wasn't the personnel board to hold the meeting. It was the selectmen held the meeting.
Right.
Or because that was for a town meeting bylaw that they were passing. So I think the person that revised everything was Brian Mazer, is that his name?
Yeah.
Who's the legal counsel for the town for this type of stuff, personnel. So he's the
Okay.
one that put it in there, but we don't know what it is. It's unfair to ask the selectmen because they're not the lawyers, the official lawyers for the town. It's unfair to ask Matt because he is not the official lawyer for personnel issues in town. Brian Mazer is, and that's who we want to chat with or be able
We
to.
just want to see him again, right?
Right. He's a nice looking guy.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Makes me feel young.
oh. So my
Most-
understanding, my understanding is when I don't have a handy, but when we went before the selectmen, we were referencing the bylaw itself, correct? So the bylaw needs a warrant to have it changed.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. So what we have to do is figure out how to create a warrant article, okay? And get that basically typed up what we want to say to remove that 2-year gag order.
I won't do that until we talk to Brian Mazer and Matt to
Mhm.
find out why it is in there. I don't know
Okay.
why it's in there, and those are
Okay.
the, Brian is the only one that can.
Right.
So,
Goodness.
I have a feeling it's something which usually happens, taken from some other bylaw from some other town. That's
well,
often how we do
when we
this.
questioned it at the meeting, it was Kevin Moss said, well, it's in zoning. And it was like, yeah, what's
That's
zoning have to do with
different.
personnel? You
That's
know?
different. It's always been in zoning.
But to me, it's like zoning is totally different. You know, you don't go hop, zoning, I could understand. It's like you won't keep trying to rezone your area or something like that. It's to the
Right.
point where, come on now, it's not going to get rezoned, at that
But
point.
that's-
Okay, give us a year to review it. So,
But that's a whole different situation because it's
Right.
been in zoning. I mean, it was in the zoning bylaws when I was town clerk. That's what, 22 years ago. This is something that's been put in recently.
right,
and,
2019, yeah.
And my problem is, I think when we went to that meeting, the one that I went to, Matt said that the whole policy and procedure book and everything was outdated. But I don't feel that it is. There are certain sections that need to be updated. But why would you just throw out the whole everything?
You shouldn't. You should basically know what your outline is and what you want to, what you want to do as far as what those procedures are that are important. And itemize. I mean, most of it is organized. I mean, there's some stuff that I would definitely say is not an attachment or appendix. You know what I'm saying? There's things
Right.
that are
And,
not
and I
categorized.
think employees want something in writing themselves. They want to be able to say, well, it says I can't do this or I can do this or whatever. He made it sound like there was no need for that.
Yeah. So I'm going to still policy and procedure reviews because that's something that we should look at. And like I said, the date, which is in the personal policy and procedures, okay?
Yeah.
The date is there for the performance as far as not having a date, put it that way. So that was part of policy and procedures, and I didn't print out anything else on that. So that's something to look into because like I said, the annual reviews a new requirement, just to go back to that subject. So that's one of the policies that we need to add,
Mhm.
a time frame. Give us a time frame that's beneficial to everybody. It's like, what's the best bet as far as, end of June, end of November, when is it applicable? Because to me, it's like, if they accept the monies for the next budget year, okay, in May, when do the people get paid?
July.
July
July 1st.
1st.
Right, so they should have it before July for that last year. In other words, they're rated on it, you know what I'm saying?
No, that would be too late.
I know that's what you're saying, but
Yeah.
we used to have, like I said, it was January to January, and then we'd have to have reviews done by the 31st of March, and they were paid that next, April. You know what I'm saying? It was like that next week. You had to have it done by that next week.
Right. But the reason that it starts at such a different time here is because each department is reviewed by the finance committee, except, one by one, and it just takes such a long time to get through it all. And then capital expenses and all
Yeah,
that.
A review, an actual review, or you're talking financial review of the department, which budget gonna be.
Well, the budget, which would include those salaries, which, like I say, ideally would be based on that employee review.
Right, but the employee review, wouldn't that be done by the supervisor? You know what I'm saying? Set aside budget, budget is what, July to July. That's the budget and it's approved in May. Okay, personal,
But
the review.
those
evaluation-
salaries are part of that budget.
Right, the money is, I agree. But what I'm saying, the performance review, which we do have a form, when is that done? That should be done basically before they're given the money. Whether it's
Right.
November, I don't care, or June, I don't care, but it should be done before they're gonna know what the money is in
Right.
May.
Right, right.
So they already know what the money is, so the review should be done, before they initially get the money.
Right.
So, like I said, time frame, we just need to identify some sort of time frame so that they're not running around trying to do all this budget stuff and this and that and do reviews. Okay, it's done, like you said, November time frame. It's way ahead of, that budget time frame. So if we propose this, like I said, I would rather say to them, I'd like the reviews done before they get the paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
Right.
what I would like. Whatever time frame you want to do. What would be a good time frame so that I know that the reviews are done, they're completed, we have them up on the server for verification and all that stuff, and they're completed. Great, that's it. So, like I said, that's one item where we don't have a time frame right now. It just
Right.
says annual reviews, which is very like, okay, yeah, right, yeah, they're done. Oh yeah, well, how do you know they're done? I don't know they're done. Yeah, they're done.
Unfortunately, I think what's being done, why they're not even bothering with the reviews, is because everybody just gets their step increase. And
Right.
if they're COLA, they get that, and nobody cares. We don't particularly care whether you do a wonderful job or a lousy job. You just get your step increase.
I know, but the communication is so very, very valuable as far to the employee. It's like,
You would
what are your
think so.
goals? What, pardon?
You would think so.
I think so. It's like I said, to the employee, because you're receiving information, praise, or you have some issues. Okay, fine, you need to address them. Fine. I mean, that communication is very, very important. And to me, just to ignore it,
Yeah,
point,
it should be.
not a good thing, So
Right.
anyway, so we've got our things as far as going to check out reviews, what type they are,
Mhm.
and then
Ellie will get one for the
Yeah.
supervisor.
so date could be added to the policy and procedures by the administrator, correct? Because we don't need the bylaw changed.
Sure.
Okay, so if I contact Matt and ask him about setting up a date time frame that the reviews are to be completed, okay? And then just mention that we want to verify that they're completed. Okay, so like I said, my idea is they could scan, set up a drive server, whatever, we have access, and they set it up so that they can put like I said, a Excel spreadsheet with that documentation on it, and I could set up a sample of that, okay, of the Excel spreadsheet, and then with the names and all that, titles, and then the supervisors, who's ever given the review, right, places that signed document, that's the last page, like I said, signatures and dates, that's all I care about, is that they signed for it and it's dated, so I know when. So those two items is what I need to verify, because I think we need to verify that they're being completed, and
Yep.
and to me, making them accountable, where someone is going to say, hey, you haven't completed your reviews for such and such, and they say, oh, he retired. Okay, fine, then it doesn't need to be even on there. The name wouldn't be on there, and the list should be updated. You know what I'm saying? So you got a mechanism to say, okay, it wasn't reviewed last year because he retired. Okay, so the new list you just gave me should have added this person and subtracted that person or whatever. So it's like you need a list of names. So then, like I said, have a column that we check that out, that the reviews are completed. So what do you ladies think? You're all set with what we need to do on certain things here? Any questions?
No, I'm all
I
set.
almost think working with the treasurer would be better, because she's the one that does and actually the financial director.
I know, but don't you remember the selectman said the financial director hasn't had a review in 6 years? I did verify, it's actually full. It's like, oh my God, how can you not give reviews to people? So,
Yeah, but
anyway.
they know the people's names in what positions.
Right, but I have remember that document that we were given by Matt a while ago? It's basically the personnel budget, municipal functions. I have here 2021. This is the first time I had ever received it. And it was very nice because it basically talked about departments, like Department 122 is Matt, Suzanne Kane, and Mary Wright, and it goes through all that. So to me, I mean, they should be using the proper titles to begin with. It's like, my gosh, like, come on. People should know what their job title is. Come on, And like I say, Administration Highway, Department 421, and then a name and activity code. So that it gives like John Furno, activity code 51100. And then FYI, grade and step, and it had that. I wouldn't care about that, grade and step. I would just care that, John Furno is, okay, who's his supervisor? Who's going to give him his review, period? What's his job title? And superintendent of the highway department, So at least it clarifies that, because like I said, I've been hopping on job titles because I remember I presented something and it was like, they could use 4 different job titles for the same job. And it's like between the home page and this document, it's like, you've got to have it down where this is their job title, and don't, the organizational chart, this is what the job, it has a job title, but not a name. But so if you went to the job title and all of a sudden you don't know who it is, so like I said, it's just a way to just incorporate that information together to say, okay, this is what it is officially, okay, and that's what we'll use from now on. Okay, ladies, anything else?
I have nothing else.
Nothing else?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, let's see, next meeting, trying to find we got in April, we've got the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. What does it sound like to you?
My calendar.
For me, the 14th and 21st are out.
Okay,
So it's either going to be the 7th or the 28th.
the 28th. Oh, how about you, Ellie?
The 7th is not good for me. The 4th, 21st, and 28th are okay.
Okay, so we'll go with the 28th, ladies, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
April 28th. Okay, 2:30 again. Hopefully we won't have any more connection issues. I'm going to continue with the Zoom meetings. I think they're excellent, except for trying to log in. We do have difficulty with that, but it's better, I think.
It is better.
Trying to
Yeah.
hustle through the snowstorm thing. I mean, even though it was slight, it was like slippery, slushy, whatever. So, and we'll
Right.
continue with that. So, can I get a what, dear? I'm sorry.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
I'll
thank you.
second.
I'll third. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.